the Gameswell show. This is the very first episode. I'm your host, Andrew, and today I have with me Thomas and Jessica. And before we get into the actual show and get talking to these wonderful people, I'm going to kind of go over what the show's about. Today we're going to have a panel, and this is going to be what most of the show is, most of the time. And each of us are going to bring a topic to talk about video games. It doesn't have to be news related to any recent stuff, just what we want to talk about. And then next week is going to be my first review, and I'm going to do Republic for the PlayStation 4. And I'm really looking forward to that, because I started diving into it last night, really liked it. And then I'll be doing a What Made It Great segment where I'll play a classic game that I've never played before, and talk about my experience with it. These will be posted every Thursday, so let's get right into it.
Let's get right into it.
Let's do it. Alright, so not my question, but just kind of a general icebreaker, if you will.
Okay.
What have we been playing lately?
The ice is broken.
I've been playing... Oh man. Alright, the dad jokes from my domain.
Oh, that's true. I'm sorry.
Alright. Well, I've been playing the Arkham games lately. I'm on Arkham Origins now, just to kind of prepare for Batman vs. Superman. I'm definitely not going to finish in time.
It's tomorrow.
You have about 24 hours. You better get going right now.
But it's been a wild ride.
Yeah. So, which ones have you done so far?
I've done Arkham Asylum
Okay.
and Arkham City, along with the Harley Quinn's Revenge.
Okay.
I
Nice.
just started Origins.
So you're playing them in the order that they came out in?
Yep.
Got it.
Cool,
Okay.
cool.
Jess, what have you been playing?
I've been playing, okay, so I know this is like what everybody's saying right now, but Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is really fun.
Yeah.
I got that as a gift, actually, from subtrendy member Dan, because he knew that I've been basically looking for an excuse to play it, and he was like, I'm just going to spend the $15 so that you will stop talking about this game constantly.
Well, I'm glad he did it.
I know. So I'm playing that, and then I guess, like, multiplayer, I mean, we just got Pokken, so we've been playing some Pokken.
Yeah, we played some right before filming, actually.
Yeah, we did. We just
out.
got done playing some.
Yeah.
And we played a little bit of Pikachu Libre.
Oh, God. Yeah.
So
Why would you not be Pikachu? Like,
that's
it's a Pikachu luchador. It just seems obvious to me.
Yeah, I like how he's the one that has, like, a costume, too. Like,
Yeah.
Everyone else is just...
I want to see Chandelure Libre.
Yeah.
I want to see a chandelier dressed up as a Mexican wrestler. So
I think you might be alone in that, but...
I mean, I don't care. I am in the right
more content
minority.
is always good.
That's true. We were actually just talking about that too. Like, that might be something to bring up. Is like, Pokken needs DLC.
Oh.
They say they're not doing character DLC. That is
Dumb.
dumb.
It's very dumb. You're missing a big opportunity.
I liked Thomas's, or no, it was Joe's idea about the Elemental DLC, like Rock type, or Brock's Gym, and making that a DLC pack. That's such a good idea.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
They need to hire Joe.
They do need to hire Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Problem solved.
Joe has a job, though. But anyway.
Doesn't matter.
I've been working through the Uncharted trilogy. We talked about that on the subtrending.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still halfway through the second one. Started playing Republic yesterday. Got it in the mail. Getting ready for that review. And I think that's really it. Pokken.
How's Republic going? I mean, I know like you're gonna save most of it for the review,
Yes. Not super far into it yet.
but okay.
I dig it. It's very different. I don't know if I've ever played a game exactly like it. It reminds me of a lot of Remember Me, which I had very mixed feelings on. Part of me really liked it, part of me really wanted more out of it. But yeah, I'm really excited to finish it up and to be able to review it and do a video next week.
Sweet.
So,
Cool.
yeah, and I got these next couple months for games. I'm just so excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited to
it's
see
coming
it,
out.
yeah.
I think it's coming out. Which, going off of that, my question for this show, what are we looking forward to in 2016? We're about a fourth of the way through, okay? We've had a few big games here or there, but nothing massive.
I can tell you what I was looking forward to.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
We've got the rest of 2016.
Yes.
So what are we looking forward to? What game are we chomping at the bit for? I think I know your answer. I don't know yours yet.
I think you know my answer.
Which I'm excited to hear what Jess has to say. But Thomas, what are we looking forward to?
Were you thinking No Man's Sky?
I 100% was thinking No Man's Sky. You know that's what it was.
I've been waiting for No Man's Sky for I'd say about 3 years by now, maybe even longer.
Yeah.
And supposedly we'll get it in June. We'll see if that ends up being actually true still, if they don't push it back. But I am very excited to get out there and just explore the universe.
Yeah. You're the one who originally turned me on to it because I'd heard of it. I was like, seems okay. And then you were like, I'm pumped for it. I'm like, okay, I should probably look into this a little bit more. Because we have a pretty similar taste as far as games go.
I would say
and so just kind of started looking into it and we're like, yes, this needs to be a thing. But I think as far as the delays go, we've got a box art now. We've got a collector's edition. It looks like it's ready to go.
I think it seems a lot more solid than it used to. It used to just kind of be this small, I think Hello Games does it. It used to be a small indie game developer. And now they kind of got a release date. Like you said, they've got release packages. It looks like, that they're ready to go ahead and turn out a product.
Yep.
With this generation of gaming, we'll see. I mean, like, even AAA developers at this point have been pushing their release dates back, months at a time. So I'm not getting my hopes up too much, but...
That is the thing. It's like, it's not even weeks. It's like, no, it's going to be 2 quarters later.
Yeah.
What?
It depends on the game, but definitely. Like, we're seeing more months.
Cross your fingers.
Yes,
yeah,
I hope so, because I think No Man's Sky sounds really fun, too. That would be up in... Because I feel like, for the question... My response, I guess, would be, I want a whole bunch of games that are not for sure coming out and keep getting pushed back.
Yeah.
Mass Effect. Like, that is what I was looking forward to. I replayed the trilogy, back in November?
Yeah.
And I beat the whole thing in, probably a week and a half, because I'm really sad and empty inside. But... No, I played the whole thing, and I just remember being, pumped. I was like, next Christmas time, I'm going to get it for Christmas, and... Realistically, I wouldn't wait. I would just buy it day one. Okay. But I'm going to get it, and I'm going to call it as a Christmas present, and I'm going to play it, and then they're like, oh, by the way, 2018.
Well, no, it still has a possibility coming out this year. They said it's a fiscal year thing, not a
but isn't the fiscal year... It was 2018 at the beginning of it. That's when it would land on. That's what I was told.
They said it would be out by, I think, April 2017 is the latest now.
Oh, 27... Wait, no, you mean 2018.
No, 2017 is next year.
It's 2016 right
now. Oh
now.
my gosh, you're right. Wow. It's been a long
I was
day.
wondering, I was like, man, it's like a year and a half delay.
This is a long pushback. Why did I know about this?
No, I just don't know years.
That's what I thought.
No,
You're good.
Maybe that's what my problem is. I'm just making all these games seem so much longer because I'm adding years to them.
Do you feel better now?
Yeah, I feel a little bit better. That's not too bad.
So we're looking at about a year from now. They said the very end.
But I wanted it to be 9 months from now. I know. See, so that was my big game I was looking forward to because I like BioWare. I love BioWare. And then also Final Fantasy VII, when that's remade, that's going to make my entire life. But that's probably going to be next year also because that's going to be the 20-year anniversary. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking it'll probably be something like 20 years of Final Fantasy VII, and then they'll release it, and it's going to be episodic.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to say 15 because with 15, Final Fantasy 15, they're trying to kind of go back, or at least they say they are, to like what they were originally, and trying to get away from things like 13 and so I don't know. I'm gonna be optimistic about it, and hopefully I don't get really angry and just quit after realizing that you can only control one party member at a time.
I can't wait to see you play that. I just want to watch
because I'm gonna get angry because you know I'm gonna get angry about it.
Yeah, I mean, you're the person who started playing Final Fantasy 13 in 5 minutes and was like, I hate this, and you quit. Yeah. And you watched me play the demo for 13
Okay,
too.
but you know what? Why is 13 the way it is? That's my question. Okay, it's like, the game used to be strategic. You cannot be strategic when you are not controlling all of your party members. In addition to that, you're healed after every battle. What? No, you need to ration. Like, I want to actually fight for my victories. So, Maybe the industry is the problem, Andrew.
Maybe we'll just do an episode where you just rant about everything about Final Fantasy 13 because it would take up this entire episode if we let you do it.
I've only played it for 5 minutes.
But I know you have strong enough opinions to talk for 20.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. No, I don't want to total trash talk it because I know some people like it and it must be good getting into there. There must be some sort of redemption. Yeah, Tony's like, I like it.
Yeah, Tony's a huge Final Fantasy 13 fan.
There must be some sort of redeeming factor in there, but I just can't get over my initial rage at how easy they've made the entire series to get in there. So I don't know. I feel like I got super off topic. I'm sorry. Anyway.
No, you're just so hardcore, man.
So 15, Andromeda, and Final Fantasy VII whenever it comes out in 2024.
Yeah, I just want to feel.
Okay.
I want to feel for my party members. I want a game that makes me
Okay, so you say that, but I've been telling you for months, sit down and play Persona 4. And that's tying into my most anticipated game.
He does say that.
Persona 5.
Yeah.
everyone needs to play Persona 4 unless you hate JRPGs like Thomas. Well, not that you hate them, you just haven't really dealt with them a whole lot.
I love RPGs.
You do.
Any RPG.
You do.
J,
we talked about them the other day, and you like, not really my thing.
Yeah, I guess I haven't really played that many of them, but I just kind of get frustrated with them sometimes.
No, Persona is a very niche JRPG, but I'm going to tell everybody they should play it anyway because I love it. Mm-hmm. Persona 4 is my jam. And if you want to feel things, play the 4th one. But Persona 5 looks excellent. I'm excited to play as like the Shadow Thief people. I want to hang out and play video games with my virtual cat because my cat in real life doesn't play video games with me.
That's true.
And she's adorable and walks around with you everywhere in your backpack. So, and then she fights monsters. And like, there's more to it than that. But like, more importantly, I'm focused on the cat. I'm really excited about this cat.
I feel like we could train Rory to do that.
She doesn't even go on a walk. I took her outside on a leash and she just like.
You're making yourself seem really weird.
I don't care.
I tried to walk my cat.
He tries to walk his cat.
No, just once. Justin and I were taking the dog on a walk, and she's like, "Do you want to try taking the cat?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And she really went outside the concrete and just flopped over and laid there. I took her back inside. Anyway, yeah. Persona 5. Persona 5, without a doubt, my most anticipated. Also, Horizon Zero Dawn. PlayStation 4.
Oh, yeah.
The, like, prehistoric mech fighting thing.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Guerrilla Games did Killzone for forever, and now they're done with it for now, and they're doing a new IP, and, like, it looks pretty, and it looks really cool.
Nice.
So, those are mine, too. Definitely. Okay, and so we went over games we're looking forward to.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Thomas.
Yeah, so I've noticed there's been a kind of trend of VR-related movie projects lately. Mm-hmm. Last summer, there was the VR Warcraft project, Skies Over Azeroth?
Azeroth, yeah.
There's been announced recently an Assassin's Creed VR experience, not necessarily a game. So I'm just wondering what you guys think about this kind of almost new sort of media that's kind of bridging the link between video games and movies.
I guess my initial thing would be, and like I've heard of these projects, but I don't really know like what would it be like? What exactly is the experience?
Yeah, I don't know much about it. So what do you get? Like what is going on?
Well, they're kind of new. Did either of you look at the Jakku one on YouTube last year? It kind of makes me think of that because I haven't played the Skies Over Azeroth yet, but there was a YouTube video and it was kind of one of those 3D videos, and it was just kind of you're on a speeder in Jakku, and it was you could drag the cursor and just kind of look around you and allowed you to kind of more immerse yourself in the world in an interactive way, but it was still kind of more of a movie as opposed to a video game.
So kind of like
a
3D camera in a virtual world kind of thing.
Because I've seen I don't know if I've watched any of the virtual world ones, but I know that they've been doing that a lot more with events. Like CNN, I follow them on Facebook, and sometimes they'll be like, click and you can see live stuff.
Yeah. And
it's like a 360 camera, and it's actually really cool because it's very immersive.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen anything video game related, but I mean if that's essentially what it is, I think it's really cool.
I think that something like Assassin's Creed is great. I mean, Assassin's Creed, the whole thing is like to view your map, you climb one tower and look around at the town and jump off, and it's always so pretty. Like, no matter how many times you do it, it's always gorgeous. So for stuff like that, I think it'd be really cool to be able to go up on a high building and look around as an assassin kind of thing and see what's going on. Definitely
Assassin's Creed. Like, that's a really, really good choice because Assassin's Creed, I mean, even the older ones, even 2 in Italy, it's like they're so beautifully done. The architecture is based off of actual architecture. And so for me, it's like to see the hard work that these developers are putting into the game up close and personal like that, I think it almost offers like a new sort of behind the scenes experience.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point.
I would absolutely agree. Actually, one of the things I've been reading about it is that they've been using a lot of the sort of scrap footage from the movie for this experience.
Okay.
So they're just taking some behind the scenes kind of things and just kind of adding it in so that they can create this new kind of transmedia experience for Assassin's Creed.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I think StarCraft would be cool though.
Yeah, sure.
Warcraft, the Skies Over Azeroth, like Azeroth is a really pretty place too. From like the brief experience I've had with World of Warcraft, and you don't really see a whole lot of it in Warcraft 3, and it's also such an old game that they couldn't render like really big areas, pretty areas. I mean, World of Warcraft is a pretty game. I haven't played it in years, and I only played it for about a month and a half, but.
And it just makes me think too, like how many games are out there, because I really do think it's like something like that is a really great ode to the people who spend so much time. And when you play a video game, you pay attention to the characters, you pay attention to the story, you know. Something that is definitely... I think that music and the atmosphere are two things that definitely make a game, but they're afterthoughts in comparison to everything else that's going on.
Right.
So for me, that almost seems like a way to draw attention to this and be like, look at how much detail was put into this map. And there are so many games where, I mean, imagine Bioshock. Imagine Bioshock Infinite or Bioshock, even in Rapture, the first one, and being able to look at it like that. That would be amazing.
That would be. It'd be really cool.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's a good way for players to just immerse themselves in a world that they want to be in without having to worry about things like objectives or hit points or anything, and just kind of sit back and take it all in.
Yeah.
I just thought of a really good one they should do.
What?
The Witcher.
Yeah.
The game is pretty. And like being able to like explore the world and see the monsters around. Because the character models for the monsters are beautiful.
Yeah.
And they're so well designed, but you're so busy killing them that you don't really get to look at them in depth.
Why can't we all just get along?
Yeah, like I'm my job is monster hunter, but I'm gonna let's just go up and hang out. I want to look at you.
And that's another thing too, is like you could either do it with an empty environment, so you just see like what it looks like, or you could definitely add in like NPCs and character and monsters and everything like that, and get a better look at the design for those too.
You know, like even going back to like real retro stuff, one of the coolest like cutscenes I think in Ocarina of Time is the beginning where you're like as Navi just kind of flying around.
Yeah.
Almost something like that. Like that's kind of what it kind of harkens to. I think.
Even if it's like
and you run into the little fence.
Yeah, even if it's like on the rails, you could still like spin the camera around. Like even,
that's how like the Jakku
okay,
thing was.
okay.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I think it's a really good. I think it's a good medium to adopt it. Video games bring it in, the VR in, and like this is the year of VR without a doubt.
Oh yeah, and VR is the ultimate platform for that because it really allows you to immerse yourself. It's not like you're staring at a screen trying to immerse yourself. You are there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited for VR.
Yeah, VR is gonna be cool.
I'm so excited for VR.
We officially pre-ordered ours, so we'll get it day one, and we will strap on the headsets, and we will probably review it pretty instantaneously.
Yeah.
If not even stream.
October.
So October. We're still months out, but I'm excited. I think it's gonna be cool.
I keep watching the gameplay for Eve Valkyrie, and just like I want to shoot things.
I want to be Poe Dameron.
Right? Like I want to exist in this cockpit where I'm shooting people.
Yeah.
In my spaceship, and I'm flying around. And I was talking to a coworker today, and he was showing him the video because he didn't know anything about VR, and he's like, I'm gonna run into so many things, like not even like as a human, but like because your perception is so weird because it's all in your head, like not seeing things or like misjudging how far away something is, and like I can't wait for that. I can't wait to get I want to get over that curve and be like, okay, I'm not running into things anymore. That's cool. Like I'm getting this. Like I'm excited for stuff like that.
See, I think that space games are really what's going to be huge. Oh my gosh, you know what would be amazing on VR? Mass Effect.
I was just when you
said Emily's sitting there waving her. Mass Effect would be amazing. But space games on VR, like that is going to be my jam, because like Eve Valkyrie, No Man's Sky, being able to survey these lands and these creatures and flying low and like all of it being on VR, that's gonna be so cool.
That's like overwhelming to think about.
I know, especially because if you think about the scale of these games too, because they're making games that are greater in scale, it is going to be almost overwhelming doing it.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah, and then I'm excited for 100-foot robot golf.
Oh my gosh, I know you are, and it's so.
Have you seen this yet? It's literally what it sounds like. You are a 100-foot tall robot in a city, and you play golf in the city.
Kind of what I was assuming.
Yeah, and you, like if you want, you can go knock over a building to make it easier for you to, and you just like that's literally the game.
Basically, how I play mini golf. Like those stupid windmills get in the way, I just burn them to the ground.
6.5 foot Thomas.
Yep.
Thomas doesn't need virtual reality. He lives on 100 foot.
Thomas's life is satisfying enough.
That's pretty good.
What do you got for us, Jess? What are we talking about?
Kind of to segue off of that.
Okay.
Because mine definitely involves movies too. Is do we think that the next comic book movie is going to be video game movies?
Like as a genre?
As a genre, because as we're seeing right now, you put out any movie or even a television show and you attach Marvel or DC to it, like, boom, you have a movie that you're going to make what you put into it at the very least, you know. And I think in a lot of ways that kind of replaced young adult as a leading trend. And so, I mean, we have coming out in the next, I think the latest is 2018, so a few years, BioShock movies in the works apparently, Portal, Half-Life, Halo, Assassin's Creed is this year. We have like little more animated ones too, like Angry Birds and Ratchet and Clank and things like that.
Hold on.
Okay, I know.
Don't bag on Ratchet and Clank.
No, I'm not bagging on it. I'm just saying like those are going to be animated, but we're seeing a lot of live action too.
Because you know who's going to be the first in line in this town for Ratchet and Clank.
I know.
It's me.
Really do know.
I'm so excited.
And I'll be right there with you.
I know. I'm going to bring all of you.
Oh, is that going to be our group movie?
I'm going to make all of you sit through this with me. I don't care if it gets terrible reviews beforehand. I will make you all sit through it.
Okay, you know what though? You know what like lame animated movie I'm excited for? Sly Cooper.
Yeah!
Sly is amazing.
I didn't even know that.
They released that trailer forever ago. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, so Sly, I love Sly. Like the Sly games are, I mean, I would say that Crash and Spyro are like the quintessential
animal mascots.
Yeah, animal mascots. I guess that's
from
like
the
a way
90s
to say.
at least, because you can go back to like Donkey Kong and stuff.
So like those are the ones that like I remember really growing up playing as a kid. But I also like later on started playing Sly, and Sly is so fun too.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are a lot of movies related to video games coming out. It seems like any AAA title, they're really looking into going into movies. Even Call of Duty, they're making they want to make a expanded universe series. Which, I mean, is that just going to be a bunch of war movies?
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially Saving Private Ryan 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Just an alternate universe.
I don't know. And that's
I just don't think they're unique enough to do that. I think that Call of Duty, they make their games, and I used to be really into them, so I get it if you like them. Mm-hmm. But I don't really think that there's anything that separates Call of Duty from any generic war movie.
Yeah.
Like, what they do, anybody else could do.
Yeah.
It's not like there's any sort of specific Call of Duty brand.
Yeah, no.
And that's definitely, and that's kind of something that I wanted to talk about, is like, which of these movies do you think could actually be done well, and which of the other ones are you like, that doesn't need a movie, that's unnecessary?
I think the big thing is because we've had video game movies before. We've had Resident Evil.
Resident Evil is probably the most successful.
Yeah, we've had Silent Hill. We had Doom at one point with The Rock.
Yes.
So I think the thing that comic book movies really nailed and figured out early was it's not the book movie is your major genre. And I think Marvel is the one who really nailed this at first, and then you have to have a subgenre under it. Mm-hmm. Guardians of the Galaxy, comic book movie, but it's a space opera.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier, comic movie, political thriller. Like, you've got to have something there. It can't just be a video game movie on the surface. I think that whoever's making these movies needs to figure that out.
Yeah.
And that's going to be their ticket.
And like, because, and I'm just thinking of one, because I hadn't thought about this, but Prince of Persia with Jake Gyllenhaal came out a couple years ago. That was one of the, I don't want to say first, because there's been plenty of video game based movies that have come out in history, but that was one in more recent years that seemed like they were really trying to make it big. And it's like they almost maybe were there, but not quite. Yeah. And so like that's kind of what I'm worried that Assassin's Creed is going to feel exactly like Prince of Persia.
I feel like part of the reason that Prince of Persia didn't do well is like they just came a little too late. Prince of Persia just wasn't all that popular of a franchise by the time the movie was released.
Yeah.
They were trying to reinvigorate it with the movie, and that was the wrong thing to do.
Right. Yeah. Assassin's Creed's doing all right now. It's not at its height right now, but I mean, like, I think that enough people like the series still that the movie could do okay. Along with BioShock, for instance.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like it's become completely irrelevant by now.
Yeah. It's not like they've fizzled out.
No.
So. Right.
I think the kind of tie into that with, Prince of Persia wasn't at its height. With the Assassin's Creed movie, who is at its height? Michael Fassbender. Like, you're pulling to him. Jake Gyllenhaal does some stuff here and there. Some
Michael Fassbender's a big name.
Yeah, right now.
Especially, I mean, with the X-Men movies and everything. He's a big name.
Steve Jobs.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Jobs.
One of the Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the 4 that came out last year.
Yeah.
So like he's on his game right now, and for him to sign on to a movie like this, it means 1, he just wants money, or 2, he really believes in it. I think it's the latter, because he's talked about how he wants to do this right.
Yeah.
And I mean, all the actors are gonna say that, but like he actually it seems like he truly believes in doing this right.
Yeah, he's not one of those people that you would see signing on to a movie just because
Yeah.
He doesn't. I think he cares more about his resume than that. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't want to put his name on something that he knows is going to flop.
Yeah.
And video game movies can be risky. Historically, they have flopped. So.
So why do you guys think that? Like, why do you think that video game movies have historically just been bad?
It's honestly, it's one of those questions where I haven't put a lot of thought. This is definitely a trend, and I guess I'll think on my feet for this one because I have not thought a ton about it. But
I think it's the same reason that comic book movies were bad. I mean, you look at the first Blade. But Fun is it a good movie? No. Daredevil, not a good movie. And I think a lot of it is the corniness of it, and it's the same thing with video game movies. You know, the original Super Mario Brothers movie was awful.
It's a gem.
It's so bad. Even the guys who were filming it hated it. They're like, this is the worst thing we've ever done. Why did we sign up for this? Resident Evil still has a level of corniness to it. I mean, they're fun. I enjoy the Resident Evil movies, but they're corny. Yeah. And I think it's movie people trying to figure out how to take something that wasn't born in their medium and bring it into something they're familiar with, and they're trying to think like, okay, this is what I think a video game is, or this is what I think a comic book is, and there's a disconnect between what they think it is and what it actually, like how to translate it properly. Mm-hmm. They have like almost like a stigma in their mind of what they think that people want from a video game or from a comic book, and that's not necessarily, doesn't necessarily translate well.
Yeah, what you like playing isn't necessarily like what you would want to see. Mm-hmm. And I think that, I think corniness is definitely a huge issue. And I think that sticking too close to what the game is also is kind of an issue. Because, and it goes to, it's really the same concept. It's just, when you play a game and you have that experience, I think that you're more, when you're immersed in something, the way that you have to be to play a video game, because when you're 30 hours in a game, you're more immersed in that game than you would be a movie that's 2 hours long. Oh, yeah. And so like when you reach that level of immersion in something, I think that you're more responsive to like dialogue that might be stupid or like certain character quirks. And so when you take that and you put that directly in a movie, it doesn't come out the same way. So I think that that's a large part of it.
That's interesting that you mentioned the quirks, and like now that I'm thinking about it, like when you watch a 2-hour movie, character quirks can get really obnoxious really fast. Yeah. Because they're trying to fit it in, like this is a quirk, this is the thing they do. Whereas if you're a 30, 40-hour game, these quirks can be spaced out, and you come to love those little things that the character does. Yeah. And I think it's an interesting like why some characters would be better in a video game opposed to a movie.
Well, I think we almost still have sort of a double standard as opposed to what we expect from video games and what we expect from movies. I mean, some video games that we consider have a good story or plot, we wouldn't really necessarily think that in a movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like I mean, if they took, like I mean, any Zelda game. Like I love Zelda games, but can you imagine like watching a movie about that?
That would be bizarre.
It would be horrible. This guy goes, he finds 3 items. He goes to try to fight a boss. Something happens. Alternate universe is introduced, finds 3 more items, wins. Yeah. Like that is like the formula to all Zelda games, and that would be horrible to watch. Let's be real.
Whoever plays Link will win an Academy Award for just going over and over. So I mean, maybe they should do it. It'd be Oscar bait.
Leo.
Yeah, I mean,
second Oscar.
Yeah,
he's got one.
Yeah, he's got one now.
He needs 2. He's got to keep going.
Have him fight a bear as Link.
Oh.
Is there other bears in Zelda?
No.
Have him fight a Goron.
Yeah. Have him do the whole sumo wrestler part from Twilight.
Oh, God.
I'm Twilight.
I'm Twilight. Yeah. So I think like there's just certain things that don't translate well. Yeah. And kind of going off of that question, which I think is actually a really good one, is why video games fail.
Why video game movies fail.
Well, yeah, why video game movies fail, not video games.
That's a whole different thing why video games fail.
Yeah.
They don't work.
Yeah. But, with video game movies, I'm just curious how they're going to do the plot on some of these. Because, okay, so they want to make a Bioshock movie.
Yes.
Are they going to make it based off of Bioshock? Like, the actual game? Because if they did that, it's like, first of all, I mean, and I guess, like, spoilers is kind of a weak argument against doing it. Because, like, play the game, whatever, it's been out for a while.
It's only like a 10-hour game anyway.
Yeah, it's so short.
It's a very short game.
But it's like, do people really want to pay to essentially see a compilation of the cutscenes from games they've played? The Last of Us 2. They want to make a Last of Us movie. If you played The Last of Us, it's pretty much like playing a long movie. You know what I mean? So it's, do you really want, and will it be as impactful? Because when you've actually played The Last of Us and you get to the end of the game and you're like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe this is happening. Like when you're watching a movie, it's not the same like gut-wrenching feeling. I wouldn't think. Yeah. You're not as attached.
I think it's interesting that like kind of tying into that, they want to do a Metal Gear Solid movie.
Yeah.
And Metal Gear Solid.
Oh my gosh, you want to talk about something that could be quirky and corny and awful.
Oh yeah. But
I can't even imagine them putting Metal Gear into
I
a
can't.
movie.
Like, this is aside from what I was gonna say, but I want them to explain like how Liquid Ocelot works. Like, you cut off his hand, put on a new one, now he's a completely different person. But anyway, like that would make no sense. But like. That series is already heavily criticized for the long cutscenes and essentially being a movie. Like Metal Gear Solid 4, a lot of people really hated it because you hardly played it.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you want to turn that into a movie? Like, just go on YouTube and watch the cutscenes. Like that's most of the game anyway. From what I know, I haven't finished Metal Gear Solid 4 yet, but like I know that's one of the big complaints of it. So I think it's interesting, especially with something like Bioshock and Last of Us.
Well, that's kind of an interesting question too. Is related to yours. Old video games like Mario, the original Mario, Pong, that kind of thing, were based solely on gameplay. There was almost, no story. If there was a story, it was very bare bones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whereas now we have things like the Telltale, any Telltale series, Bioshock games, which are very heavily story based and sometimes decision based too. Mm-hmm. And it's almost, on one end you've got something that doesn't really have a story at all to offer for film, and on the other end you've got something where the story's already written and we don't really need to see it on film.
Yeah, it's very much polar opposites, because games are either really story-based or really gameplay-driven.
Yeah, I mean, Angry Birds. They're making Angry Birds.
I know, and it's like, what?
The birds don't like the pigs.
I mean, the story is really compelling. I cried at least 5 times.
First, before you said that, I thought you were actually serious.
Oh my gosh,
I was like,
no.
I don't think you've ever played an Angry Birds game.
No.
But there's definitely. I mean, especially going back to old games, like gameplay, like they couldn't do a whole lot with, character models and stuff. They were sprites. I mean, there's only so much dialogue you could fit in.
Yeah.
I mean, they were really limited, and so a lot of it was gameplay, and there was this story where you really had to use your imagination for. And I think games like that would be better for movies because you can really expand on that.
And there's still modern games like Rocket League is kind of the same way. It doesn't really have a storyline. It's a good game, but.
It's zero storyline.
Yeah.
It should. Rocket League campaign mode.
Rocket League the movie.
Yeah.
Starring Vin Diesel.
Yes, I want Fast and the Furious Rocket League edition.
Oh man. 2 Rocket, 2 League.
Yeah, I would watch that over and over. 2 Rocket, 2 League.
2 Rocket, 2 League.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say after that.
I think something like Bioshock is, the big thing would be like thematically the same idea of possibilities and, at least for Infinite was all about possibilities, and for the original 2 it was about choice and
choice.
So,
free will.
Also possibility.
Free will is like a really big running thing, and also predetermination.
Yeah.
And that's kind of really what Bioshock is all about. Is are the choices that you make really choices that you make, or is this So I think that if they did do a completely different plot, they could. I think that's what would work. Honestly, I personally would not want to see Bioshock or Bioshock Infinite, especially Bioshock Infinite, because I feel like that would be kind of weird seeing. But I would not want to see. Do I want to see Rapture? Yeah, I think that Rapture in movie form would be cool.
I want VR Rapture.
Yeah, I want your VR experience of Rapture.
Why can't we get a movie of the fall of Rapture?
That would be cool.
Yeah, one night.
That would be what I want to see.
New Year's Eve.
The New Year's Eve party.
Yep.
That would be pretty sweet.
Just one night.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty cool. And I think that intertwining free will in there and kind of that running theme throughout the games would be something they would have to do, because that's really what makes it Bioshock. But I don't want to see the same game.
See, I would actually argue that I think Infinite would make a better movie.
Really? I'm curious to actually hear you say that.
Because with Infinite you have a character who actually was given a name and has speaking lines, but you have Booker DeWitt. Bioshock 1, I'm not even talking about Bioshock 2. Bioshock 1. That's not that Bioshock 2 is a bad game. Yeah. But that's where.
But arguably out of all of them,
it's the weakest.
Yeah, it's the weakest one. Yeah.
Booker DeWitt in Bioshock Infinite has a name, has a personality, has a life story, has a voice, whereas Jack in Bioshock 1 isn't even given the name Jack. That's like a fan name.
Fan, yeah.
The only thing that you see of Jack that gives him any sort of humanness to it is the tattoo, the chain links on his wrist. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing you see of him. He never talks. Mm-hmm. And so for me, what made Bioshock 1 so great was the fact that you were a blank canvas.
And I think that with Bioshock 1 too, and the reason why he didn't have a name, and this is what I always took from it, is it's almost an ode to Greek mythological, or Greek plays and stuff like that, where they had the concept of the any man.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it's supposed to be. It's the concept of free will and almost a moral tale. Mm-hmm. And he represents man.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
that's definitely what it is. It's a criticism of the first-person shooter genre in many ways.
yeah, I think so.
And
Yeah,
just kind of the blank slate of that. So I think it does kind of serve well as a sort of bridging between gameplay and story, like we've been talking about.
I think it allows a lot more immersion, which is something that a movie doesn't necessarily need. It needs a strong character. It needs a strong leading character. And I think Booker DeWitt would serve that purpose a lot more. And I think also Infinite's a lot more straightforward story.
Yeah.
And is a lot more easy to understand what's going on, a lot more engaging for a common audience. But that's...
You know what I'm thinking of right now, and, like, it's just so funny to me, is if we rewind, like, 2008 or 2007, when cutscenes were first starting to become, like, really big in games. I remember,
really long, at least,
really long in games. I remember, like, everybody, me being one of these people being, like, complaining, like, oh, the cutscenes are too long, like, the cutscenes make up most of the game, I hate cutscenes, like, I just want to skip forward, and, like, even with all of that criticism that initially came, because I remember everybody said that.
Yeah,
everybody was sick of cutscenes. And they're like, I just want to play the game. Like, cutscenes have just been getting longer. And they've been taking up more of the game. And it's getting to the point now where people don't. That was Bruce. That was Bruce Wayne. Oh, and that's Dan.
Dan's here. He doesn't know we're filming.
We're filming. God.
That was Dan. He's going to be in our next show.
Dan's here.
But I think that it's funny that despite that criticism, you would think that game makers would normally pull back. But instead they just charged forward and they're like, no, we're going to add more cutscenes, we're going to make them longer and you're going to like it. And it's gotten to the point where I think people do now.
Yeah, I mean...
We like seeing cutscenes.
Our generation does, for the most part. I've read a lot about younger generations, like my brother's 11. His generation is the Minecraft generation. They like gameplay in its most pure form, for the most part.
Yeah.
They like first-person shooters, online play, that kind of thing.
Bruce, come here.
Yep. Bruce is fighting Superman.
Yep. Batman versus Superman, right outside.
But yeah, so I think our generation does appreciate that. I'm not really sure what the future is going to be like with the younger generation not being as big of a fan of the more story-driven content.
They aren't, which is kind of an interesting, like, it's kind of weird how it weaves, because you say that and it's not something I've thought about, but, like, I have sisters, all younger than me,
who are the
and
Minecraft generation
they play
too.
Minecraft.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they do. They like phone games, apps and stuff like that. They like Minecraft. They like things that are straightforward, and I'm like the total opposite. When I grew up, like, me and all of my friends, like you guys included, it's like we are so into stories.
Yep.
When we play a video game, we want to feel for the characters. We want to have a connection. Like, gameplay is important too. We want to have fun with it. But
gameplay, I think I would argue gameplay is always the most important.
Yeah.
You are playing a game.
Yeah, because if you're not playing, if the game is...
If it's not fun to play, you're not going to play it.
And that's the thing, is you have to have the initial good gameplay, because if you don't have that, you can't get into a story.
Yeah.
So...
Alright. On that, I think we're going to wrap it. Awesome.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much for watching the first ever episode of the Gameswell show. Thank you guys for coming and sitting down and talking to me. This was a lot of fun, actually.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. We'll have a rotating cast on the other episodes, so stay tuned. And next Thursday, my review of Republic on the PS4 will be up. So thank you guys so much and have a great day. All I really care about though is Baby Chewbacca. So
That is true.
These three, they've gotten to the final 3 spots. I'm sure they're great. I'm mainly just glad